Sure. There's a little button on the side. Once you see the green light, you're good.
Check one, two, check. Check one, two, check. Uh-oh. Check, check. Oh, we're coming through this. Oh, check, check. All right. We're coming through the ceiling speakers. I like the way you said that. Check, check, check one, two. How's it sound to you? Check, check, check. I lean toward louder, but that's me. Check, check one, two, check. Check one, two. Good for you. Thank you, Justin. I'm afraid we get a few people in here. This isn't very loud. Check, check one, two. Yep.
A Night for Scott is a night to remember. Voted best charity of A Night for Scott is a night to remember. Voted best charity event with exciting guests, music, and more. And the stigma of substance use disorder. ANightForScott.com.
testing 1 2.
Check 1 2. Check, check, check 1 2. Man, I rarely hear that from anyone.
4.
You're lucky man to have what you need, aren't you?
2.
Well, we should have.
3. 11. That's a lot better. 10. 7.
I do. Yep, come here. As we go, when I wrap up and give you the numbers, you can tell me the next number item.
Oh, what it is? What the item is?
Just sold. Item number 1, fire number so and so, $8. $2, or something like that. Because we're skipping the pages here. It's going to be easy for me to get misplaced. Still,
so, one is the booth barrel.
Right, they did number that on the.
No, it's right over there.
It's the first item, but did they number it on the website?
I don't know.
Who gave you this information?
Hey, Doug! Oh, you're cute! Hey, let me find her.
And we need to move the booze barrel.
Where am I just right? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us today. Please make yourself at home. Prepare to have a great time. And we're here about an evening for Scott, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an afternoon stretching into a night for Scott. The silent auction is open. The silent auction is open, folks. Get your bids in often and early. Bid often, bid as many times as you like, then bid again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are so happy you're with us today. It is a day into a night for Scott. We appreciate your attendance. The silent auction is open, folks. That's a great way to help a great cause. The silent auction is open, bid often, bid early, bid a lot. Check 1, 2, check. Ladies and gentlemen, the silent auction is open. Get your bids in often and early. Use your cell phones, folks. You can bid online. For the live auction, you will have the opportunity to not just bid online, but you may also bid live. You'll have a bid paddle, folks. That's a great way to turn in your bids.
do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this silent auction is open, folks. You may bid on your phone for the silent auction. For the live auction, we'll also give you the opportunity to bid live. If you have your bid cards, feel free to wave them like you're just crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. See, when I say that, you're supposed to go, good afternoon. You didn't know. Folks, we're about to have our speakers come forward. If you'd like to make yourselves comfortable, have a seat, and we're about to get started. Thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, as you kindly find your way to your seats, I'll take the opportunity to thank you again for being here. It's a night for Scott, and we'll start in the afternoon. Just a few minutes, folks. Find your way to your seats. Welcome again.
Hey, Bob, can you make an announcement for everybody to get their bid paddles and their raffle tickets before they sit down?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have some directives for you. Y'all all out of directives? First, folks, make sure you have your bid paddles. Make sure you have your bid paddles, folks. And also, Jill, bid paddles. Your bid paddles are in the check-in room, folks. And make sure you have your bid paddle and your raffle tickets. Those are your directives. Show me that bid. Show me that bid paddle again. Show everybody how to do that now. All right, we're ahead of the game. Jill, you got to get right on this mic. Get too close to it.
All right.
It's mostly sanitary.
All right. All right, everybody taking a seat, please. We're going to get this party started. All right. Woo-woo! All right. Is everybody in from outside? We don't have anybody outside, Bob. We're good to go. All right, guys. I'm going to get this started. So as you guys might know who I am Jill Chikowitz. I am the founder of A Night for Scott. Sorry, this is never easy. Whether you all are remoting in from home, sitting outside on our patio, or joining us indoors, from the bottom of my heart, we thank each and every one of you. We have accomplished a lot over the last few years, and nothing short of a miracle. With all the challenges we all have endured this last year, the fact that you're all sitting in this room this evening supporting our cause is amazing. Thank you all so much. Give yourself a round of applause. COVID has done a number, and the fact that you all have come out to share this with us this evening is meaning more than you guys would know. As I stated over the years, we've set the bar extremely high. Our first annual event was in 2008 in honor of my twin brother, Scott. You guys have all come to know and love him. Many of you here knew him, and many of you have never met him. My husband always reminds me, sorry guys, I'm very sleep deprived, that this is a marathon. It's not a race, but as many of you know, I sprint the whole 26 miles. Hello. As a team, we're always finding new ways to stay resilient and motivated. Tonight, we'll once again show the Richmond recovery community we're forever growing, and more importantly, we're making a difference in this community, in Virginia, in the recovery community battling addiction. This disease has no shame. As many of you know, there's no race, there's no age. It affects everyone. It has affected many of you in this room. And I won't ask you to raise your hands because I know your stories. Everyone has a family member. Everyone has a friend. Everyone has someone that they know now. Yet we don't want to talk about it. There's too much stigma. There's too much shame. We want to say it's not existing. We want to put our heads in the sand. We should not. It is affecting everybody. For those of you who do not know our team, our mission is simple. We want to educate you guys. We want to educate our community. We want to raise funds that are so badly needed in the recovery community for those that are struggling, that cannot afford this. We continue to facilitate communications and other support requirements across the great range of organizations supporting our local and this national crisis. Our stellar team of volunteers who make this, they have worked around the clock. I cannot tell you how many moving parts that are involved now. It is unbelievable to see the amount of people we've gotten on board with us. I could not do this without any of you guys. I want you to know that. They truly strive for excellence and deliver each and every single day. I'd like to briefly explain why we're here. Some of you know the story. 4 years ago, we lost my twin brother, Scott, to an accidental drug overdose. Scott was a straight shooter, as many of you know. He was a strong Catholic and supported our family tremendously. We were very close to him. We all spoke to him very often. He secretly battled addiction for many years. It wasn't until he had a lethal amount of fentanyl in a pill that he didn't know that took his life at a Starbucks parking lot 4 years ago, not today, but in February. He had a big heart. He was selfless, he was beautiful, and he was loved. I don't know if he ever knew that, and that always bothers me. He worked a lot in his homeless community in California. He had a bigger heart than most. I tell people often, he would visit us at every duty station my husband and I were stationed at. He would call and text me often. He would even send me Mother's Day gifts. He was my person. He had a big heart, and because of his selfless service to his local community, we established the Scott Zebrowski Scholarship Fund at the McShin Foundation. Also, through the years, we have volunteers and family members that have countless hours of hard work and dedication. I'm extremely honored to announce that we recently started a nonprofit called To End the Stigma. So you will know our team is here with us tonight. We're going to expand our mission to adolescents that are struggling with their family members, as it is hitting them awfully hard during COVID as well. Bottom line, our mission statement hasn't changed. We're just growing and working harder to serve you. Sorry, I'm running my nose. I know I can never bring Scott back, but I can bring his story forward. Through our family's pain and suffering, we pray and to stay strong and to continue helping others in his honor. This evening could never happen without the Salisbury Country Club. We're so grateful to the staff and to Dan and everyone here for supporting us this evening. You guys have been with us from day one, and we're forever grateful to you both. The countless volunteers, sponsors, and donors such as yourself. Your generous contributions and hard work are the reason why we are so successful. Our steadfast planning committee. They never cease to amaze me with your hard work and your dedication. When I call your name, please stand up just to get recognized if you would. Jenny Lee Ball. Rosalba Lepresti, just stay standing. Amy Mead. April Morris. Alden Gregory. Amanda White. Maggie Gray. My niece Alexis Zebrowski. And to my brother Tony Zebrowski. Thank you guys. You worked so very hard for this mission. I love you all. A special shout out to Holly Richardson in the back. If you could stand up, Holly. Holly worked with our team to get these lovely centerpieces tonight. Thank you, Holly. As you know, it takes a village. Tanya Baldwin helped us set up. It has been a lot of moving parts today, and you guys have helped pull us off. So thank you so much. Todd Widows is not here with us this evening. He is with Ask Him Studios. He's the one that typically does our promotional videos and helps me along the way. Todd has been instrumental in our success, and I'm very grateful for all the hard work and dedication he's given to us. Thank you, Todd. I know you're watching live stream on All for Scott. So I would like to recognize our Two in the Stigma board member now that we are official nonprofit called Two in the Stigma. Let me plug that again. If our board member could please stand up when I say your name. Lonnie Baldwin, stay standing. Dr. Sarah Scarborough, she's here somewhere. Sarah, there you are. Sarah's over there. Hey, Sarah. Ed Niger's not with us. Beth Kerwin. Eric Morris. Dr. Omar Abubakar. Ann Moss Rogers is en route. She'll be here shortly. Wade Puryear is not here, and Amanda White. Where's my lovely Amanda White? Mandy serves on the planning committee and the board, so she does double time for us. Thank you. And she just flew in from California for this, so thank you, Mandy. From the bottom of my heart, guys, I love you all. This means more than you can ever know. Of course, I can never forget the McShin Foundation. You guys are my rock stars. I love you guys. Honesty Liller, I'm not sure where she is. Hey, Honesty. She is the CEO of McShin Foundation. She's been a mentor, a wonderful friend. She's been with me since day one. I love you so much. Thanks for staying strong and supporting me always, even on the days when I want to give up. You don't allow it. Thank you so much. Many of you follow us throughout the year. To my friends, families, and neighbors, thank you for continuing to support our work. Without this, I wouldn't be able to pull this off. Our team is working hard. You guys work for us. We also do work with the Real Life Community Center. Again, that's with Dr. Sarah Scarborough back there. We do work with the Healing Place, the Chesterfield Food Bank. We also do the Chesterfield's Heart Program with Sheriff Leonard, who cannot be here this evening. To my wonderful parents, you guys have been there for me, and a simple thank you will never be enough. Tony and Linda Zebrowski, it has been 4 years since we lost Scott. I think at this point in our lives, I feel that we have gotten some peace since losing him through our work and helping others in his name. Please know that we are making a difference. And from the depths of my soul, I know he's on the journey with us. I love you both. To my wonderful husband, Mark, he's the calm to my storm. Thank you for never letting me fail and always encouraging me that I have found a purpose, that I wasn't just an army wife and a stay-at-home mother, that I had strength and drive to make a difference in this world. I love that you'll never give up on me. We're not alone in this new calling. Many of you here tonight have bent over backwards to support us. Many of you know the famous John Shinholzer, the president of the McShin Foundation. John, you continue to be an inspiration to me. Your bold tenacity and leadership have made your recovery center a model for others to emulate. It continues to be my honor and privilege to partner with you and your amazing staff. Thank you, John, for supporting us always. If you'd like to come up and say a few words, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, John.
Man, we having fun or what? Come on, man. You know, yeah, you can applaud for that. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it home pretty safe. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm John Shinholzer, president and co-founder of the McShin Foundation. I'm also a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders. For me, that means I've been clean and sober almost 39 years. Yep. And believe it or not, I really don't see the alcohol taking place, but I do see that dessert bar over there. So, been on this diet lately. You know, tonight was a first in my life for a somewhat small event for some people, but me and my wife, Carol McDay, the co-founder of McShin, sitting over there. We've been together 25 years or so. And I got done getting dressed. I said, honey, this is the first time you've ever seen me in a bow tie because I ain't worn one before. It's the first bow tie I ever wore. I hope it stays together because I will not know how to put it back. You know, it's dangerous to give me a microphone. You know, I look out at the room here and I see something that did not exist when we founded McShin in 2004. You don't know this, but my wife started this battle against stigma in Washington in the 90s. She was hired by Betty Ford to do a national campaign to reduce stigma. And she fought for 25 years to get that mental health addiction parity bill passed. But back in 2004, this type of event did not take place. You know, the stigma was so deep, so strong, you know, and I've always been loud and boisterous. I don't know where that comes from, but I've always been proud of my recovery, proud of my accomplishments in recovery. And I always talked about it. And I always tried to help, you know, always felt like I had a purpose, you know. Carol can vouch for this. You know, our house was always full of newcomers. You know, my daughter, every day she'd come home from school, different body on a different couch, and probably not the best way to raise your child, but it worked. But as time goes by, things, they emerge, they percolate. More and more people in recovery with lived experience coming together, putting together some continuity in our communities. And I look out this room with just an incredible source of pride. When I see all the different organizations in this room, non-government organizations, busting their butt, doing the mission that we do, I can pass away in peace knowing this recovery movement is going to move forward. You know, when I met Jill 4 years ago, or however long ago it was, 3 or 4, I had no idea you could turn grief into purpose. You know, before my eyes, I got to watch her heal from that grief of her brother suddenly passing away. I remember the first time I met her dad, man, he didn't say 2 words. Now we can have a conversation, man. And, you know, he's like proud of this event and proud of being part of this. And it's amazing to see. And then I see, you know, Real Life, Virginia Association of Recovery Residences in the house, all these other agencies and organizations, and we're all moving together in the same direction. It just warms my heart. It makes the mission worthwhile. You know, you're going to meet Dan Snyder in a few minutes. He's a friend of mine. I met him through my travels, and we hang out together when he comes to town. And this morning we were running errands together. We stopped off at McShin, and we had an overdose last night. And the kid, he lived, went to the hospital. We Narcan the hell out of him, and the EMTs Narcan him. He goes to the hospital. They get rid of him as quick as they can. Well, we scoop him back up. We have him up on our couch. You know, he's really timid and tore up, and we're talking to him, and he doesn't want to live. He doesn't want to die. He's been to prison, and it's a population we deal with. It's a hard population to deal with, and it's not going anywhere. And, you know, Dan jumps right in like an old soldier trying to talk to this young man. And he asked me, he said, "John, you do this a lot." I said, "Man, we do this all. This is what we do, Dan." I mean, he said, "Well, I've never seen this." I said, "Well, keep coming back because you're going to see more of this." But, and that drives me into my next comment. You know, for the last 50 years, our country, our substance use disorder epidemic has clearly gotten worse. You can't deny that. Data doesn't lie. The epidemic has gotten worse. For 50 years, it seems like all our national resources have been plowed into 50% of the equation. Agencies, criminal justice system. How can we spend all that money continuously for 50 years, yet our epidemic's gotten worse? And for the last 15 years, thanks to some of the good work from Dr. Scarborough, she's cranked out some great evidence-based data that we've done at McShin, and she's now doing it real. We're presenting real data, real science. You know, start spending some of those resources on the non-government organization side. This is what your organization is doing. This is what Jill's doing. This is the future of America. You know, Ronald Reagan nailed it. I'm here from the government. I'm here to help. No, you're not. It's going to be like, we're the ones that's going to solve the substance use disorder epidemic. It's not going to be the government. That's why these agencies are so important. Somewhere along the way, I met this incredible young lady. And it was during COVID. I first met her giving a lecture at VCU. I remember reading about her. She was, at the time, I think you were running for Miss America. And you did a Narcan training. You were talking about Narcan. I went, holy smoke, that's a future champion of recovery right there. You know, I'm a crystal ball reader. I really am. I'm really good. If I could predict sports like I do recovery, I'd be a billionaire. But I thought, there's a champion, and I'm going to get to know her. And I met her at this a VCU opioid summit, and then I followed her. I watched her get Miss America. And I tell you, you picked a hell of a time to win. You know, right when COVID comes along and your whole reign is just upended. You know, everybody wants to hug Miss America. You know, so for a year you can't hug the girl. You know what I mean? You know, it's 6 feet distance. Hey, you can hug her tonight though. She's doing hugs tonight, man. And but I got to spend some time to her. I got to talk to her, and I got to thinking, this is not only a brilliant person, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. She is so put together, and she has a focus, a razor sharp focus I rarely see in anybody, man or woman. And I just think she's an incredible current champion, but it's going to get even better champion for our cause. And it's just an incredible honor and pleasure to be able to introduce y'all Camille Shire to come up and do what you're going to do.
Look, I can give hugs now. I'm going to take this off. I have to say, more than anything, it's great to see you all, like in person. Sorry for everybody on the live stream. But it's really encouraging to be able to do an event again like this in terms of advocacy and stigma reduction, really person to person. It's been interesting because during my experience as Miss America, and John really alluded to that, I went completely virtual after 3 months of being a full-time Miss America, traveling around the country, doing events, going to recovery centers, talking about substance use disorders, along with all of the other things that I was doing. But then that just stopped in March. And I was able to translate a lot of the STEM education that I was doing to a virtual platform, but it was really difficult to talk about substance use disorders and reduce stigma online. And so really going person to person, sharing those stories, talking to people, and kind of building that empathy and human connection is one of the most positive ways that I've really been able to see that I can make a difference in this. And I'll tell you, I feel sometimes like, how can I really be an advocate for people in recovery? Because I'm not a person in recovery, and I don't have anybody in my family that is a person in recovery, which is kind of a rare story nowadays. But what I'll tell you is really how I came to want to be an advocate for this cause. And I'm a doctor of pharmacy student at Virginia Commonwealth University. I worked for a pharmaceutical company for 2 years as an intern when I was an undergrad. And I was fascinated, not to use a fascinator joke. Sorry, I was trying to get that in somewhere. I was fascinated by medications and the power that substances have to alter our minds and our bodies and the way that we think and the way that we feel. And some of those things are really great. Think of antibiotics. Those are great. Awesome, right? Like, we need those. But then there's other substances that can be really dangerous and sometimes are not presented to us in a way that allows us to really understand the danger of that substance. And as we go through our lives, right, we watch TV and we see pharmaceutical commercials oftentimes that are trying to sell us these medications. Go ask your doctor for this. It'll make you feel better. That culture is really dangerous when we think of solving our problems with substances and how ingrained in our brains and in our lives that idea has become for us. And so I'm a pharmacy student, and I'm thinking about these things as I'm starting to learn a little bit more about the positives and the negatives of substances and medications. And I take a Narcan training class at VCU. I'm like, what's Narcan? Never heard of that. As a doctoral student, I had not ever heard of Narcan, and I didn't understand what it was. Now, I grew up with a mom that's a nurse. I was kind of in tune with medical knowledge, but it was not something I was familiar with. So I took this class put on by the Virginia Department of Health, and I learned how to administer Narcan. and I learned what Narcan was. And in that presentation for that training, I learned about the statistics, even just here in Virginia, on opioid overdoses and how many people were losing their life because of opioids. And that, I'm starting to learn about pharmaceuticals and how opioids are not just heroin. Opioids are morphine, and opioids are fentanyl, and all of these other medications that we prescribe after surgeries, and how a certain percentage of the population could become addicted to those. And are we doing a good enough job in explaining that? And that's really Scott's story in so many ways. Getting prescribed a medication and not necessarily knowing if you're going to become physically and psychologically addicted to these medications. And that people don't really understand what that looks like. And I didn't understand what that looks like. As a person that graduated from a wonderful university here in Virginia and then enrolled in a pharmacy program, I didn't even know that. So how can we expect the general public to fully understand what addiction and substance use disorder looks like, and how a medication like an opioid can really affect the brain and affect the way that you think and affect your actions and make your actions seem incredibly irrational to a lot of people. But when you understand the science of substance use disorder, it really builds empathy in our communities. And I'm a science-based person. I like to talk about STEM education with kids, but then in the same room, I get the opportunity to then talk to those young students about the dangers of substances and how they can affect and negatively impact your life or potentially end your life. And I was just talking, Dan and I were kind of talking about the dangers of fentanyl right now and how it's become mixed in a lot of different drugs that students kind of use as this, you think of experimentation in high school or college. You're playing Russian roulette in that situation now in a way that, if a student decides to open up a can of beer, you know what that is, but you don't always know what that tablet is that your friend gives you. And you're risking your life and you're risking your future, not only in a legal type of a way and getting in trouble, but you're risking your opportunity to get to those places in your life. And so I get the opportunity to go around the country and talk about all of this. And what I'll tell you is that one of the things that I've been most surprised with is the lack of understanding and the lack of empathy that our world has for people that face substance use disorders. And it's actually appalling to me. Now, coming in as kind of a neutral player, not as someone in recovery and really just being an educator, I'm shocked. And I think that when we think about an event like today, where we're here to celebrate recovery and we're here to make a difference in the long term and in helping other people find recovery, we each have to be advocates for the recovery community as we go out and talk to our family and friends about what substance use disorder looks like. Even something as simple as Narcan. I'll give you an example. I was Miss Virginia, and I went to a Rotary Club in Virginia Beach, and I talked about Narcan. And this guy comes up to me, and he says, I don't really understand why I would carry Narcan if I'm not a drug addict. And I'm like, sir, you can't use it on yourself. And he was like very confused. He was very confused. And oftentimes people think that they're like, I'm afraid of needles. I can't carry Narcan. Well, it's usually a nasal spray. So that's solved. But there's so many misconceptions. And then there's people that will actually get angry at me. And this is one of the things that bothers me because I advocate for Narcan, because I should be advocating for EpiPens. Did you know that? Because people don't choose to have life-threatening allergies, but they choose to do drugs. And that's where I go back to the science of substance use disorders and how your brain quite literally rewires your actions and changes the way that you view kind of your world and how that really becomes your world, because there's such a lack of understanding. And I can understand why. And I think that that's one of the things that I get to do that's really impactful in the way that I can help make a change. I'm not a doctor of pharmacy yet. I'm not a practicing pharmacist, and I don't get to do those things yet. But I can make small changes in educating the public, talking about this, and really raising awareness. Even with COVID, we think of, the overdose deaths are around 220 people every single day. And you hear about COVID a lot, right? We all wear masks, or we wore masks. They're gone now. We all wore masks to stop this epidemic from being a thing. But there's another epidemic, right? That's been happening for 15 to 20 years that we don't wear masks for because masks won't help, but also doesn't get the recognition that something like COVID did because COVID isn't stigmatized, Right. And so those are the things that really bother me and what I've started to understand and going around and talking to people as Miss America. And so now I'll go back to my pharmacy education in August and I will graduate in 2024 eventually with my doctor of pharmacy. Thank you. Send prayers. But as a pharmacist, I think one of the things that I've started to recognize is the difference that you can make, because you're potentially the person handing that prescription over the counter that could risk someone's life if it's not taken properly, or could lead that person down a really dangerous path. And there's a really great example of how pharmacists can make a difference in their communities. And he's sitting right over there, and his name is Dan Schneider. And if you haven't watched the Netflix docuseries The Pharmacist, I encourage you to put that on your list to watch when you get home, because you'll see a pharmacist quite literally do that and take the initiative to go above just filling a prescription for a patient and really recognizing a greater issue and then actively doing something to change it. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Dan Schneider, the pharmacist, who taught me how to peel crawfish last night. You go, Dan.
Now, how in the hell does an old fart like me follow something like that? God, we have a strange situation of the way we came to meet. Prior to the docuseries, I was pretty much an unknown, and I'd like to think now people call me a hero, and it's kind of hard to picture yourself as a hero, but they've said it, and if I seen somebody do some of the things I did, I would call them a hero. But there's so many unsung heroes out there, okay, and there are plenty in this room, okay. Some of the unsung heroes aren't here today. We are standing in the backs of some of the people that have lost their lives in this thing. And a lot of them have lost their lives because of stigma. And for those of y'all who don't know my story, maybe many of y'all do, but in a sense, my son died from stigma. Okay. We really kind of got blindsided. The story is he was shot and killed attempting to buy crack cocaine. And this is back in 1999, April of 1999. And Danny was a good kid, never had a detention, didn't have fights. He liked to read and write poetry. And I called him a peacenik, okay? And he always was bringing people together. Sounds a little bit like Scott, to be quite honest with you. And he had smoked pot occasionally, and we kind of caught him with that. And I tried to control that and stop. And I had warned him as a father a little bit. I said, the gateway argument, whether you buy it or not. Look, I kind of almost winked and nodded a little bit, like, don't do pop, and just make sure that you never go beyond that. And so I do it, not me. I'll never go beyond that. Okay. And obviously he did. And days before, we saw a few signs. Me and my wife was sitting over there, Mrs. Pharmacist, or Annie Schneider. She's Annie, I'm Danny, Annie and Danny. Okay. And little Dan was our son. Okay. And geez, I'm such a great kid. We saw a few signs that, I think he had locked his keys in his truck, and we'd heard his grades weren't going quite as well. And I started suspecting maybe he was smoking too much pot. Naively, that's what I guess I was even hoping for, maybe. Okay. So I went and talked to him, and he says, Dad, he says, no, I said, Dad, no, I'm not doing drugs, which I now know he was lying. Okay. But he said, but I am depressed. Okay. And I'm having difficulty sleeping. And I said, well, believe it or not, that relieved me. And it kind of, it was better that he had this than he had the stigmatized disease of addiction. Okay. So I was sort of relieved, but I also said, son, are you suicidal? And he gave us a gift. He said, no, Dad. He says, I got a great mom and dad. And this is days before he died. I got a great mom and dad. I got a great life. He said, I'm just a little confused on what I want to do, and I'm losing focus. Okay. Sadly, I now realize, and I didn't realize this, but, we had a good relationship. We were usually pretty open with each other. But, Dad had basically said, okay, son, Dad had preached to him, watch out, you might go further. So I think one of the things that really bothered him is he would have had to admit to his dad that he was right. And then the other thing, later on after he died, we talked to a lot of his friends, found out some things that we didn't know. And his friends had said, he says, well, if my dad finds out, or if I tell my dad, okay, he's going to put me in a rehab. And then everybody's going to know, okay, that I'm a drug addict. And so that limited his desire to maybe face his problem and to be honest. And as Camille said, it affects your brain and such. We now know too that the night that he went out, the day he went out, he had reached out to some of his friends, by the way, his counterparts, and some of these kids he had done drugs with, but most of them didn't really get to the stage where he did with this crack, quite a series. So he had reached out to some of these friends and said, I got a problem. I don't know how to handle this. He says, but I'm having a craving. I'm having to go out for this thing, and I don't want to do this. So he might have still had his brain. It was still pretty early stages. He had only been involved in this seriously for about four to 6 weeks, from what I can figure, after I got graveside confessions. So he reached out to friends and said, so look, man, call us up. He says, we'll go out and we'll have a beer. Okay, we'll shoot some pool. We'll get your mom off of it. Well, our son left our house that night at around, say, 10:30. He told us he was going to get some notes for school, okay, which unfortunately was lying. But there is one good thing. When he came through our bedroom door, he told us he loved us. So his last words to us, basically, was that he loved us. His mom said something like, be careful. Don't be out too late. About 10 minutes after he left, we got a phone call with one of his friends, a kid named Ricky. And we didn't really understand at that time. He called and said, no, Danny just left. Well, we get a loud knock at the door at 2 o'clock that night. Okay, and it's the policeman, and they tell us our son was shot to death. And it's crazy. But later when I talked to Ricky, Danny had tried to call 2 people that day to try to help him not go out that night. Okay. So it's a very tragic thing. And then the next thing, so remember, stigma had a lot to do with Danny not getting the help he wanted. He wanted to keep it secret. He didn't want anybody to know. And yet it's really an addiction. Camille painted the picture. Boy, what a gift Camille is, okay? I'm 70 years of age. I might have 10 years left, okay? Maybe more. Okay. But isn't it great to think that we got a lady like this at that age that is so well versed in this thing? I call my operation Tunnel of Hope because of the theme of light at the end of the tunnel. And boy, isn't she a breath of fresh air for the youth that has stuff together like John mentioned, and to be able to do this, it gives us all hope. And even Jill, who's kind of a little more middle-agey, okay? Look at that. I'm sorry. Y'all look up. Are y'all twins too? I apologize. And I should know the difference because you speak so low. I should know the difference because you speak so much lower, and she's got such a higher voice. Well, any of that, the next step in stigma was, and it's on my journey in my story, the next step in stigma was, okay, so my son was a drug user. I had to swallow that, okay, and I was embarrassed and whatnot, okay. We thought about suicide because of the significant loss that we did, but thank God we didn't. We held it together. We had a daughter, okay, but I go to the police naively and think, well, okay, well, look, my son was a drug user, okay, but there's a killer out there, so let's go get the killer. Okay. Well, I quickly found out that they treated my son pretty much equal to his killer. He was a drug addict, a user, and it was kind of like, maybe he got what he deserved. Okay, he should have known better. Why should we go out there and bust our ass in a dangerous area to solve this murder. And that has changed some, and not all police believe that way, but that's the approach that we got. So you know what? I got pissed off about that. Okay. I said, bullshit. I'm going to find this killer. And so part of the story is I eventually found this killer. I found a young lady witness who turned out to be the big hero. There's a lot of heroes and there's a lot of reasons why I'm here. Okay. My son's death is one. Okay. But another thing is, if I probably would not have solved my son's murder, I'd have probably been a broken man. Okay. I made a bargain with God and I said, I will go out, God, if you will help me get my son's killer off the street, okay, and protect me and protect my witness, I will go on a mission for you. And I'm on that mission right now. And my show was that mission. There's another little thing I'd like to say about my son, too, before he passed. In that particular little period where I was talking to him about his issue of depression, I was going to try to get him some help with depression. Okay. But I also talked to him a little about his future and that, son, you don't have to be a superstar. I think he was shooting too high. I said, yeah, he wanted to be an architect. I said, and, he was good in English and reading and books. He really not good in the math that much. Okay. Mediocre student at best. And so I said, maybe you're shooting too high. Be a draftsman first, because we saw some of the work he did. He was kind of more of an artist, to be honest with you. Okay. And so I tried to take some pressure off him. And he really seemed to change a little bit. And he came to me and my wife again, this is all days before that he dies. And he comes to me and said, Dad, I really like that conversation that we had about, my future and about you talking to me about this issue. It's so sad that we just didn't quite break through and get the real truth and maybe could have averted this. Okay. But he also said something to me that sticks in my brain as another reason why I'm standing here right now. Okay. He said, Dad, I'm going to go be a draftsman first, and maybe I'll move on to architect. Maybe I won't. He says, I love to write poetry. I'm going to write poetry. I like short stories. Maybe I want to do some writing. I don't know if I can ever make a living at it, but I want to be involved in that. And he says, one other thing I'd like to do, Dad. He says, I'd like to do something to discourage kids from doing drugs. Okay. And at that time, that was another thing that disarmed me. I said, this kid finally gets it. Okay. He was trapped. Didn't want to admit to Dad. Didn't want to admit to the world. The stigma was preventing him from doing that. Okay. But he knew that what had happened to him is what his dad actually said might happen to him. Okay. And he wanted to do something about it. Okay. We never know for sure that he would have really followed through. When that kid say a lot of things. Okay. But I'd like to think that he would have. But I can tell you what, his words have made me do something about it. Okay. And he's another reason why that I'm standing here. Okay. I can ramble on. I'll tell you what I want to do, though. I want to deliver a message. Before we came up here, I live in St. Bernard, suburb of New Orleans. Okay. And I'm sorry when I'm telling you more about the story. Watch the show. Okay. And there's going to be a movie. There's going to be a movie, and there might be a TV series out of this thing. I'm hearing a lot of things. There's a lot of things that may be in the works. Okay. So, and Netflix is still carrying it, so you can watch it anytime you like. I'd also recommend that you watch Crime of the Century. That came on HBO, and if you haven't seen it, go back to Demand, go back to repeats, okay? And John gives me a little more credit than I'm probably due, but I was working on trying to shut the opioid crisis down in its infancy. And I was dealing with Purdue, and I could see that the handwriting on the wall, just like John talked about crystal balls, okay, with maybe seeing Camille. I had a crystal ball that I could almost see that this was going in the wrong direction. And I'm sorry to say I did almost as much as I could do. And I didn't move the needle as much as I'd like to move the needle. Okay. And so we're still trying to move that needle. Okay. But shortly before I left St. Bernard, New Orleans area, an event happened in our area. I had been going out to schools. Okay. And my mission really, John said something that I haven't actually witnessed too much of a person that just overcame an overdose. Okay. And that's true. I work more on the top of everything. I want to try to build a nationwide organization, okay, that can pull all the advocacy groups together and even government agencies, okay, and pull everybody together into some kind of voice where we can push to get the resources we need. Okay, so I'm not working at ground level, and I appreciate the people that are working at ground level. I want to get the people at ground level resources and everything they need. Okay. But I did have an experience that lately I knew this fentanyl problem was such a problem, and they had young novice kids taking these things and dying. So I actually put my tennis shoes back on, and I went out and started speaking at schools. And I'm going to read to you what I delivered to them. Okay. And before we left, we got notice that in a school that was maybe 15 miles from where I delivered my last talk about this thing, a young girl that was an honor student, who I'm pretty sure would have walked across the stage tonight to receive her. Okay. Honor student. Her and a friend of ours took a Percocet tablet and cut it in half, or what they thought was a Percocet tablet. She died. So instead of receiving her diploma today, she's donating her organs. Okay. And it just tore me up. Again, it was like, God, why didn't I get there? Why didn't I get this message out, And so I'm constantly working. I want to read the message that I did deliver to these kids, and I hope y'all spread this around. Y'all almost know it. I hate it's been done, but I'm going to read it anyway, okay? Parents and students. I read this to a couple middle class, a couple hundred kids in different schools. Okay. And by the way, I asked them to raise their hands how many knew what fentanyl was. And if there was 200 kids out there, I had about 10 kids raised their hand that knew what fentanyl was. Then I asked them how many know that maybe tablets, fake tablets out there that are laced with fentanyl. And there were no hands. So even though most of us here know about this story, they don't. Okay? And they are dying. This girl died. Okay? This is what I said. Parents and students, please be alert and aware that there are fake prescription pills such as Xanax, Percocet, and Adderall on the street and available through social media. These fake pills contain deadly amounts of the very potent opioid called fentanyl. One pill can kill. This fentanyl can also lace ecstasy, marijuana, methamphetamine, almost any drug. Never take anything unless it's prescribed by a doctor and gotten from a pharmacy. In the past, experimenting with these things was wrong, but not usually deadly. Now this illicit fentanyl is almost anything not from a pharmacy and is killing students. Students, stay away from drugs and alcohol. Your brains are still developing. And even if they are not immediately deadly, they can damage your brain. Also, watch out for friends who might be experimenting. Care, don't cover. Report any using or dealing anonymously if necessary to parents or teachers. Had my friends and I made peace with my friends, my son's friends, because I had wished they had told me, don't just trust your friends. I'm glad my son reached out to his friends. That was an attempt, okay? But, his friends should not realize that they're not all thinking right. They don't have the maturity. So reach out beyond that. So that was one of the messages. And then I'm going to kind of close with this, too, because you can pass this on. Because, for us to make a difference now, if none of these kids knew this, and it seems like almost none of the parents know this, and everybody knows about COVID and everybody knows about masks, right? Okay? And everybody knows how many have died from COVID. Didn't we hear enough about how many cases they had there, how many deaths we had and all this kind of stuff? Where were those same messages about the opiate deaths or the fentanyl deaths or these kids that were dying? Okay. So this is what I basically have done. I call it like a commentary. Okay. How might we reduce, hopefully stop fentanyl deaths and the opiate and addiction pandemic that is killing 100,000 Americans a year, 90% of which are between the ages of 15 and 54. We need a Walter Cronkite-like moment. Apologies to anybody who's too young to know who Walter Cronkite was. Okay. Americans were awakened when the media and Cronkite, who was the face of the media in his day, he started speaking about the futile loss of so many young Americans in the Vietnam War. A moment where middle America woke up to the carnage that we were enduring and says enough. In Vietnam, we lost 60,000 young Americans over many years fighting a war not on our soil. The pandemic is on our soil. And again, we are losing 100 a year, not 100,000 total, 100,000 a year, year after year after year. We need the media, mainstream, conservative, and liberal, to speak up and tell the truth about the enormity of this crisis. This is truly a nonpartisan issue, one of the few. Okay, we are all in this together. Together, we, the people, should rise up, push the media, and compel our leaders to take real action. We need to make this happen to save lives of our children and grandchildren. Wake up, America. We are basically standing by, and while we are having almost 300 funerals daily, 300 American family tragedies. The pharmacist is building a nationwide movement to combat this national tragedy. We need 1 million or more people to sign in at our website, tunnelofhope.org, and be a part of the light at the end of the tunnel. We will push the media, our leaders, and be a spark that causes middle America to wake up and say, enough. We're not going to take this crap anymore. Okay. We will make your voices heard if you sign up. Okay. Prayers for all those that have lost loved ones. We will make sure that their lives and deaths were not in vain. They will be the heroes whose backs we stand on to end this nightmare. Prayers for our movement, and prayers for everybody out here that is supporting this cause. And John, who so many people do the grassroots work. And one of the things I'd like to do, if I can ever build this political movement, have enough clout to actually push these, I'm not going to do it, but these blonde politicians, John, and you know what I could say. Think I ought to say it? No. These blonde, I want to push these blonde politicians, okay, to start doing the right thing, not the bidding of the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance industry and the vested interests and the for-profit lobbies. And John's got a great point, okay. The real people that are making a difference in this thing really is, I do think the government can do more, and I got to work on that, okay? They have the resources. They can do some things that we can't do, okay? But John is absolutely right. The people that are sort of really making a little headway in this thing, okay? The reason why we're losing is because the government isn't doing some of the right things, basically, okay? The people that really make a difference is like John and everybody that's in the nonprofit situation and trying to do the benefits, okay? We have got to get the government to spend some of that money on those nonprofits. And that's another thing that's going to be a mission of what I call the Pharmacist People's Lobby. And again, you get there through the tunnel, and you can be part of the light end of the tunnel. So I appreciate this time together, and I appreciate Camille and John and everybody here, and Jill, who now I know the sister. That's Jill. Okay. And and thank you, Joe. And the only thing I would suggest is you got to raise your voice a little bit higher, because nobody actually really, can barely hear you, guy. But enough already.
Thank you so much, Dan and Camille. I'd like to add, I'm no Miss America, but I'm holding my own for 40. No, like you're saying, raising your voice and making a voice. A lot of you may not know, Scott is a victim in the Purdue Pharma Committee. He is one of the people that I've had the pleasure of going to New York in front of the Department of Justice and telling his story. The committee I'm on serves for 66,000 people in this country, and it's an ad hoc Purdue Pharma Victims Committee that I've been honored to serve and fight for these victims. So yes, I have a loud voice, but I'm making a wave, babe. I also recently was on a committee to help get a bill passed in Virginia that is lowering our flags to half staff in honor of International Overdose Awareness Day for August 31st. Again, this voice is getting things done, Dan. All right. Just joshing you, babe. Just joshing you. No, I just want to I want to introduce our last keynote speaker. I would never say last because he's not least, but this next person, I just cannot say enough wonderful things about you, Lonnie. Lonnie and Tanya live in our neighborhood. I randomly met them at our pool, and Lonnie has been sticking beside me and supporting me since day one, and I never really understood why he had such an interest until one day we spent many hours talking, and I learned of his story. And his story was incredible, one that I felt enough that you guys all need to hear it, because it is truly remarkable where you've been and where you're at now. I am blown away by the amount of strength and perseverance. You and Lonnie, or you and Tanya, have been wonderful friends, wonderful supporters. Your story is not mine to tell. It is for you to tell. So if you don't mind, come on up and tell it. Lonnie Baldwin. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Lonnie.
You made me cry.
No.
Wow. I'm almost crying just sitting there listening to her. Rock stars, man. Holy crap, rock stars. If you have not seen The Pharmacist, I strongly, strongly encourage you to watch it. My wife and I watched it, and I won't get too much in my story right now, but being on the other side where your son was, I related that side, and I related the side that you spoke of. If you look in the dictionary and look if you look up perseverance, there's a picture of Dan right next to it. I mean, you want to talk about somebody that perseveres. Oh my God, my hat's off to you. And thank you so much for coming. And Camille, thank you so much for being here. Jill, thank you for not only asking me to speak, but also to be a board member of To End the Stigma. I am truly honored and truly blessed. And I'm also truly honored and blessed for everybody here today. And hopefully I say something that will resonate with somebody in here. Before I start, there's a book. I have a little routine. Surprisingly, I'm a former Marine, so I have my routines. I have my routine there's certain things I do every morning. And one of them is there's a book that I read. I read at least 2 pages out of it every day. And I have a network of friends, about 250 people in my network. Matter of fact, one's sitting over there. Actually, there's a couple in here right now. Of something that I read in this book that I send out. And I've been doing it for about 8 years now. I said I was only going to do it for about 6 months, but it's been 8 years. And the reason why I bring that up is because something hit me. Of course, I'm being the Marine. I have to have everything. My wife will tell you I'm very orderly. And I read this piece. I was thinking about what I'm going to say last week, today, and this thing hit me like a ton of bricks. In this book, it says, cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. Death and misery for them. That is exactly why I'm here. That is exactly why we're here. That is exactly why you just shared what you did, Dan. I am a proud member in recovery, long-term recovery, have been for several years. I do not wear it on my sleeve. I don't shout it from the rooftops, but I am in recovery. A lot of my neighbors who are here right now know that. And I do, there's a term that people in long-term recovery talk about, about breaking anonymity. I break my anonymity when I see a good reason for it. And I can't think of a better reason than this. So when Jill asked me to speak, I didn't, she said, why don't you think about it? I'm like, no, I will. I mean, I knew immediately that I would, because one thing I've learned in recovery, that whenever I'm asked to do something, I do it, no matter what. I always do it. Even if I don't want to, I still do it. I met Jill. I knew of Jill, but then we met at the pool that one day. Tanya and I sat right next to her, and something about her, I can't explain it, but something connected me to you. Then I don't remember the details, but I think about a week or so later, something was, I think it was on Facebook. You put something about maybe the first night for Scott. I don't remember what it was, but that's when I found out about Scott. And I remember talking to my wife after and saying, I need to talk to her. I mean, because that's my story. And I say that that's my story, a Scott story. The only difference between Scott and me is Scott died and I didn't. I should have a couple different times. Growing up, I grew up in Illinois. My mother, at the age of 16 and 17. By the time my mom was 22, she had 3 boys. You basically had kids raising kids. Both did not have fathers. Like I said, both high school dropouts. They did the best they could with what they had. I didn't realize that then, but I realize it now. The reason I want to bring that up is because my dad worked 2 full-time jobs. My mom also worked. And so us 3 boys were basically left alone. And there's addiction runs in my family. Didn't know it then, know about it now. But you basically had 3 boys doing what they wanted, when they wanted, no supervision. So that's kind of a recipe for disaster. So I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol at a very early age. I think I had my first drink at the age of 10, and I started doing drugs at the age of 11 and 12. By the time I was 13 and 14, I was doing a lot of different drugs, powder form, pill form. That's just what I did. And basically I followed my brother's footsteps. I did the exact same thing that he did. At the age of 14, I tried to commit suicide. I took a bunch of pills, didn't tell anybody, and basically waited to die. And I didn't die, obviously, but I threw everything up, thank God. But I never told a soul about that. And I didn't share that with anybody until probably about 20 years ago. But after my freshman year in high school, I was going downhill fast. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I was fighting. I was skipping school. I was that kid that you don't want your kids to hang out with. I was that kid. But deep down, I knew I was a good kid. I knew I was a good person. But doing the things that I was doing was preventing me from being that person. I went and talked to a Marine Corps recruiter. I always wanted to be a Marine. I went and talked to a Marine Corps recruiter, and he basically said I had to graduate high school to go in the Marine Corps. So I buckled down, stopped hanging out with this crowd, basically didn't have a crowd to hang out with. I kind of was on my own, but I stopped doing drugs. I still drank every once in a while, but I buckled down. So that told me that I could do this on my own, right? So I graduated high school. I go in the Marine Corps, my lifelong dream. I had every intention of being in the Marine Corps for 20 years, at least, minimum. I did really well in the Marine Corps. For the kid that needed the structure in his life, it was perfect for me. And I did well. I got every rank meritoriously. For those of y'all who are familiar with the military or were military, you know what I'm talking about. I was an E5 in 3 years, which in Marine Corps is kind of unheard of. So I was on the fast track. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I reenlisted for embassy duty, Marine security guard duty. For those of y'all who don't know what that is, overseas in consulates and embassies, you'll see a Marine in dress blues. That's what that is. You work for the State Department. You have 2 different chain of commands. You have State Department chain of command, you have the Marine Corps chain of command, but basically you work for the State Department. So here I am, a kid getting all kinds of trouble, and now all of a sudden I got a top secret security clearance working for the State Department, and I'm thinking to myself, do they know who I am? But I'm like, okay, my life has changed, so I'm good. But the thing of it is, before I went on embassy duty, I had a surgery, and somebody mentioned it earlier. I had a surgery, and that's when I was introduced to opiates. And this was 1986. Opiates was not in the news then. You didn't hear about it. All I know is, and for those of y'all who are like me, who are sitting in this room right now, when that first pills, I didn't do pill, I did pills, went down, something switched. Something in my mind just switched. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I want more of that. I often kid that to my friends and my wife, I'm addicted to more. Not just drugs or alcohol. I want more. Like those desserts over there, I want more. There's no such thing as a little bowl of ice cream. No, I want more. I'm addicted to more. I want more. So, and that's when the lying started. That's when the thievery started. I would lie to get more pills. I would say I lost my prescription. I would say anything to get more. And then I went to embassy duty, got away from that. I was stationed, my first duty station was El Salvador. And for those of y'all who are my age, in the mid to late 80s in El Salvador was not a fun place to be. There was a civil war going on down there and people were trying to kill us. There was a Marine, there were 4 Marines that got killed right before I got there. I was one of the dead guys' replacements. It was just a bad place to be. But and we could not leave the compound. So again, if you're like me, if you have the same affliction that I do, you know the worst possible thing for me, us, is to have idle time. And that's all we had was idle time. 18 months of 24 to 25 Marines, age 19 to 25, on a compound, can't go anywhere. Well, I found out real quick that you can get anything you wanted over the counter down there without a prescription. It's changed now, but back then you can get anything. So I went out in town and I started getting Percocets, Lortabs, Valium, Xanax. All I know is if it had that little red sticker on the side of it that said, "Do not operate heavy machinery or drink alcohol while taking this medicine," that's what I got. And I didn't see that warning. I saw drink alcohol with this medicine. That's what I saw. But that's when the addiction really took hold. And I was doing stuff that I had no idea what I was doing. I was taking stuff that I had no idea what it was. I overdosed, and I don't know how I never got caught, but I overdosed one day. Luckily, I didn't have duty the next day, so I had passed out for like 20 hours. And eventually, my luck ran out. I got sent back to Quantico on charges. One of the charges was trafficking. Little did they know that I wasn't trafficking. I was buying so much for my own use, not selling it. Why would I sell it? I wanted it. But I did get in trouble. I went on embassy duty to get promoted to E6, and I ended up coming off embassy duty as an E4. I was busted. My Marine Corps career was over. At that time, I was in 6 years, and I didn't want to face it. I blamed everybody else for my problems. It couldn't possibly be my fault. It was the Marine Corps fault. It was, my detachment commander's fault. Couldn't possibly be my fault. Oh, and by the way, there's a little joke. I meant to open up with this, but you know how you can tell when an active addict is lying? When their lips are moving. But I possibly couldn't be at fault. So I had met, and by the way, my daughter, my stepdaughter, and my son-in-law are sitting back there. And I had met my daughter's mother before I went embassy duty. We were married in 1989. I got out of the Marine Corps in 1990. My daughter was born in 91. My son was born in 93. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I quickly found that you can go to what I call doc in the boxes. Your doctors on the corners. And I was a good con man. I wore the shirt, the tie, the suit. I would go in and feign an injury and get what I needed. And then I would go to pharmacies and get it filled. But the thing of it is, though, I can't use insurance because then the wife would find out. Not only that, but I could get caught. So I was a supervisor for a convenience store chain that traveled all over North Carolina and Virginia. And I embezzled. I embezzled from the company I worked for to fund my addiction. Since then, I have made amends for that. I embezzled a lot of money. I still make amends, cash amends, even today, even though it's probably already paid for. I still do it because it's the right thing to do. Getting back to that. I was so good at being a drug addict that I kept a log. Surprise, Marine, keeping track. I had a log in my car of where I went, what city, what they gave me, where I got it filled at, and I used cash for everything. That way, not traceable. Now, obviously, these days you can't do that. But back then, you got to remember, this is between 90 and 94. So that's what I did. And then it was miserable because I would go to a doctor and he would catch on or she would catch on and I wouldn't get it. So now I'm screwed because I can't get what I want. Now I'm all depressed and everything. So my emotions, and I think Camille talked about what happens in the brain. I'm going like this. I was just constantly depressed, constantly on edge, constantly anxious. And how the hell can I possibly be a good father or a good husband like that? And that's all I wanted to do in my entire life, was to be a good husband and a good father. That's all I wanted, and to be a good Marine. because I wanted to do exactly what my mom and dad wasn't for me. And drugs was taking that from me. In 1993, after my son was born, I got a hold of a very large quantity of Percocets, about 5,000 pills. And the whole game plan was to do a little bit here and there. So I wouldn't have to go to doctors anymore. Well, again, if you're like me and you're sitting in this room, you know that plan didn't work. You build a tolerance after a while. And it took me 4 months to go through 5,000 Percocets. You can do the math. At the end, I was doing about 40 a day from the time I woke up until the time I went to bed. The thing that I didn't realize at the time wasn't necessarily the opiate in the pill, it's the acetaminophen that's in it. Taking that large quantity of acetaminophen, how I'm standing here today, I don't know. Right before I ran out, I was in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina for work, and I had to do an audit at one of my stores the next day. And I was taking probably 5, 6, 7 at a time, and then doing it every 3 or 4 hours. And I forgot that I had taken some. And I took another handful, and then about 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I go into convulsions, and I'm sweating profusely, and I'm going into convulsions, and I'm dying. I know I'm dying. I know I'm going to die. And I had that, people in recovery know what I'm talking about. I had that foxhole prayer. God, please, just get me out of this. You know, I promise you, I will never do this again. I will be the good husband. I'll be the good father. Just don't let me die. About 18, 20 hours later, I woke up. I had thrown up. And I remember that prayer that I said, and then 3 hours later, what do you think I was doing? I just completely forgot that prayer. I was using again, doing the same thing again. I ran out of those pills about 2 weeks later, and I went 3 days without sleeping. I took myself away from the family, knowing that I was going to withdraw. And why I didn't go to the hospital, I didn't want to get caught, but it was horrible for 3 days. And then I said I wasn't going to do it again, and I didn't. I was clean. It happened again. And I was on this roller coaster. I couldn't get off, and I didn't know what to do. This part always gets me. I was driving. I lived in Spotsylvania. We had a house in Spotsylvania. I was driving down Route 1 in Spotsylvania near Massaponax, and I come to a traffic light. And keep in mind that I'm literally planning my suicide at this point because I'm worthless. I'm at a traffic light, and there's a guy in a truck in front of me, about my age, and there was a little girl sitting next to him. And they're laughing, and they're smiling, and they're hugging, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And I started crying my eyes out. And my recovery started that day. I went to treatment up in Fredericksburg, August 1st of 1994. And I was in so much pain that I was willing to do anything. It didn't matter what it was. If they told me to stand in the corner on my head, I would do it. I didn't care. I was going to do whatever it took because I didn't want the pain anymore. On day 4 of treatment, I went to a 28-day program, and after 28 days, I did a 3-week outpatient program, and then I did a 13-week IOP, intensive outpatient program, and I needed every bit of it. My friend Beth here, who's on the board, just retired from Tucker's Pavilion and was in that business helping people like me for 36 years. Those people, you're rock stars. I mean, because the people in treatment made me feel like about addiction. They taught me about, keep in mind that this was not in the news. It wasn't on, it was a huge stigma back in the 90s. Massive stigma. And so you didn't hear about it. So I thought I was unique. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was crazy. But they taught me so much in treatment. But one of the biggest things that I ever learned in treatment was about day 4 or day 5. There were people that came in recovery, who came in and brought a meeting to us, patients. And there was a guy who told my story. He basically had an identical story to me. Kids, he felt worthless. He felt shame. He felt remorse. He wanted to commit suicide. He just felt the world was better off without him. But he had that spark in his eye, and he was clean. He was sober, had been for about 3 or 4 years. And I talked to him after the meeting and said, how do you do that? I want what you have. How do you do it? How do you get rid of the guilt, the shame, the remorse, everything? How do you get rid of that? And he just looked at me and he said, Lonnie, I'm not like that anymore. And of course I couldn't comprehend it. But all I knew is out of that meeting that day, I got hope. And I also knew after that day that what he was doing is what I want to do for the rest of my life. You know, and my lovely wife, Tanya, and I met her doing that type of work. Tanya was head of a committee in the Richmond area who brings meetings into Tucker's and to treatment centers and rehabs. And I volunteered to get on that committee, and that's how we met. We met doing service work for helping other people. We were friends at first, and then a year later, we were married. And I inherited a family. I have a son and a daughter, and now I inherited 2 more daughters and a son, and our house is full of recovery. It's full. We live, eat, breathe recovery. Some people may seem or may think that that's boring, but no, trust me, it's not. Yeah, you just had that last night. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's always something, always. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. That I have to do that. We have to do that to give back not only what was freely given to us, but it's insurance for me not to go back to doing what I was doing before. You know, by staying in the middle and helping people, I have to do that, and I will do that, and I will continue to do that. And I get so much joy in doing that. That father and daughter that I saw on Route 1 at the traffic light, you know, I wanted what they had. I wanted it, and today I have it. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Lonnie. That was incredible, and thanks for sharing your story. I know it's not easy, but I truly believe that recovery is proof that you are. It happens, and I believe in it. So thank you very much. I'll wrap it up. I know we're getting a little behind, guys, but just to, side note, whenever some people question that maybe I'm in overdrive and dedicating too much of my time to this, someone like Lonnie and Tanya, they make me realize that our efforts are worthwhile. And 2 days ago, my son's 13th birthday, I felt like I was kind of blowing him off. And I said, Carter, I'm very sorry. You know, mommy's big fundraiser is in 2 days, and I'm sorry that I'm not giving you more for your birthday. And his response was, you're saving lives, and that's more important, Mom. So whenever I question myself, I'm going to hear that little voice in my head that's taller than me now and has a full mustache at 13 years old. Now, and it made me think of the starfish story. My dad always says it reminds me of me as a child, and we're talking about Dr. Abubakar, and I said the same thing. You guys might know the starfish story. It's an old man who's walking along the sea to do some of his writing. A big storm has passed through, and there's starfish all over the ocean. And as he's walking, he sees a little boy walking along the beach, picking up one starfish at a time and throwing them in the water. When the old man asks the young boy, what are you doing? He says, the tide has washed them up on the beach, and they can't return to the sea by themselves. When the sun gets high, they will die unless I throw them back. The old man returns and says, but there must be tens of thousands of them. You won't be able to save them all. As the little boy leans down, he grabs the starfish and throws it as far as he can. And he said, I made a difference with that one. Dr. Abubakar sent this to me on Mother's Day and said, if you ever don't think you're doing and making a difference in this world, read this. So thank you for sending that to me. I may be trying to save one starfish, but it's one starfish I've saved today versus yesterday. I do know we're making a difference. We've had over 100 people go through the Scott Zebrowski House at McShin Foundation and get well. That's more than 100 starfish that we have done that I can say because of our efforts this evening. Guys, last year we raised over $40,000 and we had close to 300 in attendance. And I know we have more because we are live streaming. I do hope to continue to raise money to help people because I truly believe recovery is possible. And, you know, perhaps it's the one starfish that I didn't save that drives me, and that's okay. But I know I will continue to try to save as many starfish as I can, and I pray that you all stay with me to help throw them all back in the ocean. If you all can just sit tight, we're going to do a quick video just from some keynote speakers that couldn't be with us tonight, but thank you so much. I love you all for Scott.
Hi, I'm Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and I want to thank Jill and every member of the Planning Committee for help organizing critically important virtual event. Too many people during the period of COVID have been overwhelmed, isolation, dealing with the disease. Unfortunately, we've seen a rise in opioid use and abuse. That's why it was so important that recently I supported the American Rescue Plan, which had $4 billion for emergency mental health funding and counseling. I think we all know coming out still going to be enormous mental health.
Well, folks, listen, if you just listen to that and it didn't pluck your heartstrings, I suggest you immediately consult a cardiologist.
I know we can deal.
We have several ways we can thank these people and experience their stories and show them our love and support. One is simply a round of applause. And once we transition from the tragedy to the success of overcoming tragedy, we'll have another way you'll be able to express that. And that is with the live auction, which will start in just a few minutes.
Good evening and welcome to a night out for Scott. I'm sorry I can't be there with you in person tonight. My name is Ryan Hampton. I'm a person in recovery. I'm an author.
Boy, I just heard a voice of wisdom. Dive into the auction. I love the way she thinks.
To be with you here, albeit virtually. I've had the honor of getting to know Jill over the last couple of years, and am just completely inspired with where she's taken this initiative in such a short period of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a couple of minutes. If you do not have your bid paddle, if you have not checked in and registered for the auction, now's a great time to do that. You have permission to leave for exactly 120 seconds.
Let alone your twin brother, such as Jill did on February 28, 2017. But she has dedicated her life, her passion, her purpose, like so many other people who are in this room, to erase the stigma, the shame that is associated with substance use disorders that keeps so many people from ever being able to reach out their hand and ask for help. Stigma is just what I like to say is a kind word for systemic discrimination, for bias against people in recovery, against those who struggle, against people who use drugs. And I consider it public enemy number one when it comes to providing resources to our communities, resources like recovery support services, the great work that community-based organizations like the McShin Foundation is involved in every single day on the ground in Virginia as their statewide recovery community.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may check in. Check in is where you got the raffle tickets. Also, folks, if you could kindly re-find your seats. We now have audio to match the video.
Our neighbors, family members, community members from reaching out their hand and saying, I need help. So before we can tackle all those major issues on the federal level and on our state level, we have to make sure that policymakers, that the media, that those in our community see us as humans first. And that's the work that A Night Out for Scott is accomplishing tonight and accomplishes throughout.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your kind attention and your patience. We do have audio now for the video.
That we're involved in.
Kindly transact the business you need to transact.
Coming out of COVID, we know that we have.
And if you could kindly return to your seats as soon as possible, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the silent auction is open. You may bid on your phones if you're registered and logged in. I do encourage you, folks, you want to get another drink, come back and sit down. We appreciate your kind attention.
You look like you have one headphone. I thought you were a DJ. Yeah. I thought April was like, I'm gonna bring it in right here. I'm gonna bring it in right here. All right, now we're good. How did you not know that? Like, you didn't feel this? No, I didn't. April's over here like, look, this basket. I'm about this basket. I didn't know. April, I'm so dumb. I'm trying to get attention because I don't know if I'm like.
Somebody should do something about that, but it's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll give you a couple more minutes. Thank you so much for your patience and your attention. We do have the technical bugs ironed out. Or do you iron out a technical bug?
Hi, I'm Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and I want to thank Jill and every member.
To start in just a moment. If you can kindly find your way back to your seats, maybe grab a dessert to take with you. In some cases, grab several. Make sure you have your bidder's card, please. Make sure you are registered for the live auction, ladies and gentlemen. The live auction coming up in just a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your kind attention, please? Would you ever so politely, sweetly, and kindly turn to your neighbor and say, shh? Now that we have your attention, folks, would you also, now the next step is to kindly and sweetly return to your seats, if you will, please. If you are standing next to someone who is standing, you may escort them to their seat. Thank you very much, folks. You're so kind. Normally, I have to trick people to get them to move. Ladies and gentlemen, if you direct your attention to the screen, please, with informative, heartwarming videos for you.
Hi, I'm Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and I want to thank Jill and every member of the Planning Committee for help organizing this critically important virtual event. Too many people during the period of COVID have been overwhelmed with isolation or dealing with the disease, and unfortunately, we've seen a rise in opioid use and abuse. That's why it was so important that recently I supported the American Rescue Plan, which had $4 billion for emergency mental health funding and counseling. I think we all know coming out of COVID, there's still going to be enormous mental health scars and challenges. And we've got to make sure we do all we can to deal with substance use disorders. I know we can deal with this, and I think, again, you, by holding this event, are honoring Scott's memory, and perhaps out of the challenges can come a brighter day for everyone. So, Jill, and to everybody on the Planning Committee, thank you for putting together this event, and thank you for allowing me to participate.
Good evening and welcome to A Night Out for Scott. I'm sorry I can't be there with you in person tonight. My name is Ryan Hampton. I'm a person in recovery. I'm an author, advocate, taxpayer, voter. I'm active in my community, and I am just so grateful to be with you here, albeit virtually. You know, I've had the honor of getting to know Jill over the last couple of years, and am just completely inspired with where she's taken this initiative in such a short period of time. You know, her brother, Scott, his memory will live on through the work that you all are doing day in and day out in your community, and through events such as this. I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a family member, let alone your twin brother, such as Jill did on February 28th, 2017. But she has dedicated her life, her passion, her purpose, like so many other people who are in this room, to erase the stigma and the shame that is associated with substance use disorders that keeps so many people from ever being able to reach out their hand and ask for help. You know, stigma is just what I like to say is a kind word for systemic discrimination, for bias against people in recovery, against those who struggle, against people who use drugs. And I consider it public enemy number one when it comes to providing resources to community, our communities, resources like recovery support services, the great work that community-based organizations like the McShin Foundation is involved in every single day on the ground in Virginia as their statewide recovery community organization. That systemic shame and discrimination and those barriers keep people like me, keep people like my friends, keep people like our neighbors, family members, community members from reaching out their hand and saying, I need help. So before we can tackle all those major issues on the federal level and on our state level, we have to make sure that policymakers, that the media, that those in our community see us as humans first. And that's the work that A Night Out for Scott is accomplishing tonight and accomplishes throughout the year. So again, I'm sorry I can't be there with you this evening. You know, the work that we're involved in, it goes without saying, has never been more important. Coming out of COVID, we know that we have quite a hill to climb. You know, the CDC reported just 2.5 weeks ago that we've hit another historic high in overdose numbers in this country. 90,000 Americans died between September 2019 and the 12 months ending up to September 2020 from a preventable drug overdose. So we have a lot of work to do, and I can't wait to be back there in Virginia with you sooner rather than later, hopefully, where we can be in person and continue doing this thing together. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Have a tremendous evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and look forward to seeing you soon. Good night.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carl Leonard. I'm Sheriff of Chesterfield County.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
On behalf of everybody at Chesterfield.
Is there another video? Okay, never mind.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carl Leonard. I'm Sheriff of Chesterfield County. And on behalf of everybody at Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office and our HEART program, where we work so hard to help those with the disease of addiction, first want to offer my apologies that I cannot be there this year. The schedule just didn't work out, but I definitely hope to be there next year, and we'll plan on it for the 4th annual Night for Scott. And amazing where we've come, but really not amazing when you think about the hard work that Jill puts into this and everybody else every year. Her passion to always remember Scott and to use him for good in this cause is just admirable. And it hurts me that I can't be there with the whole family today, but I want to say, hope you all have a great event. It's all for a good cause. You know, we're all part about breaking down that stigma, as is A Night for Scott, and we're all fighting for our future. So I wish I could be there in person, especially to spend some time with Scott's family, who I've come to know over the years so close. And Jill, you're an amazing individual. You work so hard every year for this. I hope it's another great success, and I can't wait to be there for your 5th annual Night for Scott next year in person to help you again. Hope everybody has a great night. Thank you.
I've done all I can. See y'all later. Okay, he said there isn't. You said there is. I do have it. 30 seconds. Pretend like you haven't heard this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You see, now you should have been ready at that point, folks. Try it again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Good try. Folks, my name is Bob Melvin. I have the privilege of being your auctioneer this evening. I mentioned that one of the ways we can thank and support these people is to applaud. Second way is to participate in the live auction. Most important, we're here for a great cause, folks. I'm joined by my good friend Jansen and my best friend and new wife, Andrea. Feel free, cheap applause. Grab your bidder's card, folks. Hold that up for me. Shake it around. Make sure you know what to do with it. If you're online, you don't have a bidder's card, feel free to shake your bidder's finger. That'll work just fine, folks. We are here, if you weren't aware, We're here for a fantastic cause, fantastic reason, and part of that is to raise money. If you were not aware of that until this point, it's good that you know. And folks, that's where I come in, and I have absolutely no shame whatsoever. So please be prepared. Our friends online, live auction is about to begin, folks. The first item we have for you is this incredible, does a wheelbarrow go with it? That's important, isn't it? Because if folks, great item here. Here's how we're going to start it. I'm going to ask you for money. You're going to wave your bidder's card. You're going to push the button online, and you're going to get the wheelbarrow and everything in it. How much, folks? Let's help the cause now. How much now? Would you get 4? Would you get 500? And would you get $500? Phone to get 5? To get 100? To get 5? Now 6, sir. 600. I'm 5 here now. $600 bid, sir. Would you get 7, my friend? Now 7, sir. He's trying to take your basket. I'm 600 now. 7. I have $600 phone. Did he get $7? Did he get 6? 7 now. 700. I have $600 bid. Would you get 7? I'm 6 now. 700. Online. Are you with me? I'm 600 now. 7. I have $600 bid. Did he get $7 phone? Did he get 6? 7. 700, are we done? $600 phone, did he get $7 bid? Sold, $600. Thank you so much, sir. Hold that number up proudly for me. You have a bidder card, sir, or you on you? Yeah, perfect. Number 110. Thank you so much. Number 110. The Custom wood flag by Operation Phoenix Outdoors have a custom-made, handcrafted, 22-inch by 43-inch wooden flag created by the Operation Phoenix Outdoors just for you, folks. This item will be shipped directly to the winner. Operation Phoenix, if you don't know, is a nonprofit whose mission is to bring military veterans, first responders, and their families hunting, fishing to facilitate fellowship, friendship, and healing, folks. Help support their cause. Help support our cause. Operation Phoenix. How much, folks? And what do you give for it here? And what do you give 500? And what do you give $500 phone? Give $100 bill, folks. You get the unique wooden flag for yourself. $100 and give $100 bill. I have $100 to get 2, ma'am. 200. I have $100 bill now. $200 phone. $100 bid to get 2. 200. Folks, I have $100 bid. Now who give $150? I'm $100 here now. $150. I'm $100 phone to get $50 more to get 2 here, ma'am. Now 200 and now $250, sir. I'm 2.5 to get 300, ma'am. Now $300. I'm 2.5 to get 3 here. 3.5, sir. I'm $300 to get 3.5, sir. Don't look at her, sir. Make up your own mind. I'm $300 with a 3.5. I'm guessing she loves you. I'm $300 with a 3.5, sir. I'm $300 phone to get 3.5. Since you're a military man, sir, I feel the need to point out you're about to get beat by a girl. I'm $300 with a 3.5. May I call you a girl, ma'am? Is that okay? I'm $300 with a half now. $300 now. Free $350. I'm $300 with a 3.5. $300 phone to get $50 more to get 3.5. Yes, ma'am. That's the way you do it. Now 400, ma'am. And now, don't give her that eye. And now 400, ma'am. I'm $3.5 to get 4, ma'am. Now 4.5. I'm $400 to get 450, ma'am. $400 here with the good. Ma'am, don't make me walk all the way over there and ask you again. I'm $400 to get 4.5. I'm $400 to get 4.5. You done? $400 to get $50 more to get 450. Everybody say it with me. Sold $400, number 147. Number 147. Number 2, folks, is the chainsaw statue, an amazing handcrafted chainsaw art piece up to 2 feet tall. The winner has the option to choose an animal such as bear, eagle, turtle, dolphin, moose, cardinal, more with custom detail, folks. If you want an amphibian, I bet they can get it done. Can't ship this one, folks, but you can buy it right now. Thanks so much, Allen's Chainsaw Creations. How much, folks? Who give 500? And we give $500 fund to give $500 to give 5. And we give 500, give 200. And with $200 to give 2, give $100 bill, folks. Only one in your neighborhood to have one. Who give $100 bill? And we give $100 fund to give $100 to give 100. Now $100 bill. Somebody get $50, folks. Let's get started. I have 50, and now $100 bill. I'm $50 fund to give $100 bill to give $100. $50 now. Give 100. And did I mention this was to raise money, folks? Did I mention that? And $50 pound to get $100 bill. $50 would get 100. And thank you, sir. Now 100.5. I'm $50 pound to get 150. Where'd you go? I'm $50 to get $100 bill to get 1.5. I $100 bill to get 150. $100 pound to get $50 more to get 1.5. 150, are we done? Bless your heart. Now 200. I'm going to have to get $200 bid. 1.5 here with the lady. And now 200 if you please. I'm 1.5 here with the $200 bid. Now 200, folks. I have 150. Give 200 before I go. Ma'am, are you waving that at me? Scared you to death, though, didn't I? I'm 1.5 to get $200. I have 150 with the 200. Gonna sell it now. If you're done, I'm through. I'm 150 with the $200 bid. 200. Sold. $150. Hold that number up proudly, if you would, please. Number 284. Number 284. And item number 3. Item number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is the Washington Nationals gift basket. 4 tickets to a Washington Nationals game of your choosing, valid through December 2022. Includes $50 in concessions, backpack, hat, and the obligatory foam finger. If you don't already have one, you'll have one with the package. Emily McDermott, thank you so much. Let's buy it. Who give 300? Give 2. Start them at $100 bills to see some baseball. I'm $100 bill, now 200. I have $100 bond to get $200 to get $200 bid, now 200. Who likes baseball? Raise your hand. 200, now 3. I'm 200. You were bidding, weren't you, ma'am? You do like baseball, too. I'm 200. Now 3, ma'am. I'm $200 to get $300 bid. 3, ma'am. It's your turn. This is how we do it. I'm $200 to 400. I'm printing out of able to get 4. I'm 400. It's your turn now. I'm printing out of to get 3.5. 3.5 now 4, sir. I'm printing out to get 4 to get 4 to get 4.5, ma'am. Now 450. That doesn't dismiss you from bidding, no. I'm pointed out to get 4.5 now. Ma'am, I have 4 here. 450. If you'd like to take your wonderful husband to see some baseball. I'm pointed, no pressure. I'm pointed out to get 4.5. I hope that is your husband. I'm pointed out to get 450. I'm pointed out to he's not. Oh, well. I take him anyway. I'm pointed out to get 4.5. It's for charity, ma'am. It's for a good cause. I'm pointed out to get 4.5. I pointed out to get 450. Pointed out to get 4.5. All the baseball players in. Pointed out to get 450. Sold $400. Thank you, sir. What's that number? Number 148. Number 140. Item number 4. Number 4, ladies and gentlemen, handcrafted wooden table. If you saw it over there, folks, it's a one-of-a-kind. Handcrafted table made from a mixture of redwood and white oak, hand-cut and milled by the creator, folks. The wood used to create this masterpiece was milled for months prior to the crafting and mounting on this stellar reclaimed base. Simply breathtaking, of course. The dimensions are there. Holly and Donnie, thank you so much. Let's buy the table, folks. How much now? Give $1,000. And is that a bid? And we give $1,000, man, to get 500. And we give $500, to get 500, to get $200 for the table, folks. $200 bid to get 2. We get 200. And to get $2, man, to get $200. Somebody give $100 bill. Now it's for the cause. And give $100 home. And we give $100 bill to get $100 home to get $100 bill. Now 100. Jansen will carry it to your car for you. I'm 100 now too. I'm $100 bill to get 200. I'm an equal opportunities day. I'll throw him under the bus too. I'm $100 bill to get 150 now for the table. I have $100 bill. Give 150 before I go. I have $100 bill to get 1.5. Online people, y'all need furniture. I'm 1.5, and now 200, ma'am. I have 150. Would it get $200, ma'am? Now two. She's not going to let you borrow it, ma'am. I want to have to get 200. I want to have to get 2.5, ma'am. Now 250, ma'am. I'm $200 to get 2.5 now. I have $200 to get 2.5. $200 bond to get 2.5. What you're supposed to be doing if you're not bidding? I'm $200 bond to get 250. Sold $200. Number 187. 187. Thank you. And item number 5. Item number 5, folks, Dirty Dancing Basket. It is not exactly what you think it might be. For those of you, 2-night stay at Mountain Lake Lodge, folks. Who wants to have the time of their life? We're in love with this adorable live auction item. 2-night stay with breakfast for 2 at Mountain Lake Lodge, along with a Dirty Dancing puzzle, keepsake sign, and classic record. So grab your watermelon and enjoy a weekend away. Mainstone Lodge located in Pembroke, folks, and it's donated by Mountain Lake Lodge. Thank you so much, Heidi Stone. Folks, who deserves a break? Let's go. Get 500, and we get $500 pound to get $200 is start of at 200. Thank you. Now 300. I have $200 to get $300 into get 2. Now 300. Yes, ma'am. Now 4. I'm $300 to get $400. I'm 3 and 4. Now 4. I have 300 over here, and now 400. Just do this. 400 and now 5. I'm $400 to get 5, sir. You say 5, sir. And I did get $500 to get 600. I'm 5 now. $600 to get 5 to get 6. Now where are you? 600. There you are, my friend. And now 7. You both out. I'm $600 to get 7, sir. And now 8, my friend. I'm $700 to get 800. Your turn. And now 9. I'm $100 to get $900 to get 8. Now 9. Just lift your card. I'm 800. I'm not kidding you, sir. He's really bidding. 900 and now 1,000. I'm $900 to get 1,000, sir. I'm not. Sir, you're not going to start listening to her tonight, are you? I'm 1,000 and now 1,100. I'm 1,000. Don't act like you're on the phone. I'm 1,000 now 1,100. That's not going to work, sir. I'm 1,000. You've been better off going to the bathroom. I'm 1,000 now 1,100, sir. So I'm 1,000 here, 1,100, if you please. You say 11, ma'am. Bless your heart. Now 12, sir. I'm 1,100 out of the get 12 to get 13. Now 1,300. Y'all should really be applauding. 1,200, now 13, my friend. I tried it out of the get 13, sir. $1,200 to get 13, sir. To get 12 to get $1,300. Sir, if this helps at all, he thinks his wife deserves it. I'm 12, now 1,300. I'm 12 it out of the get 13, sir. None of my business. I'm out of it. I'm 12, 13, sir. I'm 12 it out of the get 13. $1,300 out of the get 14, my friend. And now 1,500. I'm 1,400 out of the get 15, sir. 14 now. 15, your turn again. I'm $1,400 to get 15. If start walking closer, you don't want that to happen. I'm $1,400 to get 15, my friend. I'm 14, 15, sir. You good? Thank you very much. You did a great thing. Folks, I have 14, 1,500. Anyone else? Sell it with me. Sold $1,400. Yes, sir. Hold that number up for me again, please, friend. Thank you. Number 234. Number 234. Sir, I did mention I have no shame. I also have no tact either, but item number 6, folks. Item number 6, Avita Luxury Hair Care Gift Basket. I'm in. Gift basket includes comforting tea, shampoo, nurturing shampoo bar, 3 bottles of curly curl enhancer. I've never heard any of this. Leave-in treatment, botanical repair. Folks, apparently it's everything you ought to have for your hair. Cynthia Bryant, thank you so much. If you've got hair, raise your hand. How much now? Give 1,000, give 500. And we get $500. And we get $500 to get $200. We get 200, folks. All the hair care products. And we get 200. And get 200 to get 2. We get 200 to get 2. Listen, if you bid 100, everybody's going to roll. If you bid 100, everybody, they'll cover you. And give $100 bill. Anybody give $50? $50 on now. $100 bill. $150, sir. 200, ma'am. And now 2.5. I'm 200. Did I lie to you? I'm 200 to get 2.5. I'm 2 here. Now 250. Thank you. Now 300, ma'am. I'm 2.5 to get $300, ma'am. Now 300. I'm 2.5. Now 3. Y'all can split it up later. I'm 2.5 to get 300. I'm 2.5 to get $300, ma'am. 300 to you. You want it? 300. Thank you, sir. Now 350. I'm $300 to get. You have lovely hair, also, sir. I'm $300 to get 3.5. I'm $300 to get 350, sir. You could end up with hair like his. I'm $300 to get 3.5. I'm $300 to get 350. $300 to get $50 to get 3.5. Sold $300. Number 210. Number 210. And item number 7, ladies and gentlemen. Folks, this is a $600 gift card toward a Nags Head beach rental home. $600 towards the rental of a yay, Nags Head. Was that for Nags Head or just home? $600 rental goes towards $600 toward a rental, folks. Private pool in Nags Head, home equipped Wi-Fi, renovated kitchen, ideal location, beautiful, gorgeous, valid for any week through December 2020. Rent directly from the owner, and the rates change. The rates, the $600 may actually cover the whole deal for you, folks. We don't know yet. Off-season weeks may be free with this gift card from Caribbean Blue. Ladies and gentlemen, who deserves a break? How about it now? Have it to get 500. And with a good $500 phone, start them at $100 bill. Everybody wants to go to net. Listen, if you were cheering, there you go. 100. And now 200. $100 to get 2. And now 300. And now 4. 4 to 5. 4, now 5, and now 600, and now 7, and now $800 bid. I'm 7 away back, now 800. I'm $700 bid to give it. Don't get quiet now. I'm $700 funded to give $800 bid. I'm 700, 800. I'm $700 funded had to give $800 bid. 800 now, 800. Bless your heart, 900. I'm $100 to give 9. Man, don't shake your head no at me. 900. I'm $100 to give 9, sir. 800 over here to my left. Now 900. I'm $100 to get $100 phone to get 9. Now 9. Take some friends and charge them. I'm 800. Now 9. I'm $100 to get 9. $800 phone to get $900 bid. Are we done? 900. And now 1,000, sir. And now $1,000. I'm $900 phone to get $1,000 bid. Did I mention what a great cause this was, sir? 900 and 1,000. I'm $900 phone to get $1,000 bid. I'm $900, sir, to get 1,000. No pressure, sir. Everybody's looking. I'm 900, now 1,000. I'm 900, would you get $1,000 bid? Are you thinking about it or ignoring me? I'm 900, would you get 1,000? $1,000 now, 1,100. I'm 1,000, give 11 now, $1,100 bid. I'm 1,000, give 1,100. I'm 1,000, $1,100 for 11 now. 1,011, pull your money. I'm 1,000, now 11. 1,100, we done. $1,000 get $1,100 home to get 12, sir. Now 1,200. I'm $1,100 to get 12, sir. He thinks his family deserves the time, sir. I'm $1,100 to get 12. I'm $1,100 to get 12, sir. I can wait all night, my friend. No problem. I'm $1,100 to get 12. You coming? $1,100 to get $500 bid. Thank you so much. Sell it with me. Sold $1,100. Yes, sir. Number 110. Number 110. And we are on item number 8, correct? Item number 8, folks. Wintergreen Getaway Package. Wintergreen Getaway Package, folks. Escape to the mountains and enjoy a 4-day, 3-night stay in this beautiful... That was my wife. Anyone else, I wouldn't have let them stop me. Wintergreen Getaway Package, folks. Escape to the mountains and enjoy a 4-day, 3-night stay in this beautiful 3-bedroom Wintergreen home. House is fully equipped and comfortably sleeps 8 people, folks. Conveniently located close to the slope, spa, tennis, hiking trails. In addition to the home, enjoy 4 ski lift or tubing passes, a 1-hour tennis clinic up to 4 people, and 2 hours indoor-outdoor court time donated by Wintergreen Resort. Trip to be redeemed, please, by 2022. Kevin and Lorraine McQueen, thank you so much. It's a great trip, folks. Who give $2,000? And we get scared him to death. And we get $2,000 bid. And we get $2,000 for $1,000 now. $1,000. And 1,000, you say it. And now 1,100. Are we good at 1,000? I don't want to kill anybody now. 11, 12 in the back, and now 1,300. I'm 12 way back. Now 1,300 on the digger 13, 14, sir, and now 15, ma'am. I'm $1,500 on the digger 16 in the back. Now, sir, 15, 16, 1,500 on the digger 16 with digger 17. Now 1,700 and $1,800 bid. That's right. Y'all should be clapping. 18, new shooter, and now 1,900. I have 18, 1,900 now. I'm $1,800 with the digger 1,900. You're not in. 19. That's good. And now 2,000, sir. And now $2,000. He threw that thing down. I'm $1,900 to get $2,000 now. I'm $1,900 for the. You can get back in the back now. $2,000. I'm $1,900 to get $2,000. Doesn't 2,000 just sound better than 1,900? I'm $1,900 to get $2,000 bid. I'm 2,000 if we're done. I'm $1,900 to get 2,000. Sold 19. Don't do it before I do, ma'am. $1,900 buyer number. What's that number, please, ma'am? Thank you so much. Number 299. Number 299. Listen, you can say sold with me. Don't say it before me. Number 9, folks. Thermomix Tm6. If you ain't seen this thing, man, this is a space age product right here. The TM6 is made with state-of-the-art technology to not only allow you to cook thousands of recipes, but to do it with ease. And with the multi-layered cooking feature, you can simultaneously cook your entree, your sides, and dessert. You'll be amazed by the 24 different cooking functions, folks. It replaces your blender, your stand mixer, slow cooker, Women's Health Magazine voted the Thermomix Tm6 best of all time, ideal for novices and pros. And this is from Rosalba. Thank you so much, Rosalba. Wonderful item here, folks. How about it now? He give $1,000 and give $1,000 phone. Give the bid. Did he give $1,000 phone? Did he give 500? Give 5 now. 500, folks. And we did give $500 phone. Give 5. Start him at 200 then. $200. Thank you, ma'am. And now 3. $200. Did he give 300? Did he give 2? Did he give 3? Now 300. I'm $200 and the digger 3, and now 400, and now 5. I'm $400 and the digger 5, and now 600. Now 6, ma'am, 600. I'm 5, and now 600. I'm $500 man, but it gets $600 bid. 5 now 6, 5 now $600 for my 500. And now 6, bless your heart. Now 7. I'm $600, but it gets 7, ma'am. I'm $600 phone, but it gets 7, ma'am. I'm $600, but it gets $700 phone, it gets 6, 7. Now 700. I have 600 bid, and now 7. All we done. I have $600, but it gets 7. $600 phone, the digger $700 bid. You want to bid 7? I know. That makes me drag it out longer, sir. I'm 600. Who gives 601? I'm $600, but digger 700. So $600, yes, sir. What's that number? Number 175. 175. Number 10, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10, folks, Commonwealth Cosmetic Surgery Basket, folks. Halo Laser and Botox Package. Now, I'm looking around the room, and y'all would have to buy this and give it to someone else. See, you thought I was going to say something mean, didn't you? Y'all would have to buy this, give it to an older relative or something. But, folks, this is a great deal. This includes the Halo Laser Treatment, 20 units of Botox by Dr. Bridges of Commonwealth Cosmetics. The basket comes stocked with a variety of skin health products to showcase your beauty. Matthew Bridges and Marcy Lutton, thank you so much. Folks, this is a great package here. How much now? Have it to get phone to get $2,000 and bid $1,000. Hey, folks, listen. If you're sitting to someone and you think sitting next to someone and you think they need this, you can buy it and say you bought it for yourself. And then just give it to them. Who give 500? Who give $500 phone? Did he get 5? And did he get 5? And now 600. And now 7. I'm $600, but he get 7, ma'am. I'm 6 over here. And now 7, ma'am. I'm $600 phone. Did he? Ma'am, I'd like to really get you to bid, but I can see he needs this worse than you do. I'm $600, but he get 7, ma'am. I'm 6 now, 700. $600, but he get 7. I'm $600, but he get 700. Are we done here already? I'm 600. Now 7. Bless your heart. And now 8. And now 800. You're both out back there if you're splitting it. I'm 700 now, $800 bid. I'm 7 now, 800. $700, but he give $800 bid. Asking you now, $800. I'm 7. No pressure. I'm 700. 800. I'm not saying you need it. I'm saying you might just want it. I'm 7. 800. I'm $700, but he give 8. $700 phone, did he give $800 bid? Ask him if you need to. 800. I'm waiting on you now. I'm 700. 800. I'm $700, but he give 8, sir. I saw you flinching, sir. I saw you flinching. 800 now 9. I'm $800, but he give 900. I'm 8 now 900. It's okay to buy things for yourself, sir. I'm 800. 900. I'm $800, but he give 9, sir. $800 phone, did he give $900 bid? 8 9 now 900. Bless your heart now 1,000. I'm $900, but he give 1,000, sir. And give $1,000. And give $1,000. Want to give $1,000 bid. And we give 1,000, sir. Not done the 1,000 sound better than 900. I'm $900, but he give 1,000, sir. $1,000 you're coming. $900 phone to dig $1,000 bid. Let's sell it then. I'm 900. Give 1,000. Last chance. Sell it with me. Sold. $900. What's that number, please, ma'am? Hold that number again. Hold that number up again for me, please, ma'am. Thank you. 181. There's a quiz after every sale. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've had a good time, ladies and gentlemen, if you've had a good time, feel free to let out in a round of applause. But here's now we have a little chat. Folks, we've had some fun. You're going to take home items with you after you donated to a fantastic cause. Now we're going to heart check you. We're going to ask you to donate, and we ain't giving you nothing. This is the heart check, folks. Give from your hearts. Use your wallet to do it. If I haven't asked you for enough money that you want to give, folks, here's your chance. We'll take every amount you want to offer. If anyone wants to offer anything over $2,500 right now, jump up. Everybody will burst out in applause. It'll be a miraculous, wonderful moment if you'd like to do that right now. What I'll do is first, folks, if there's anyone here that can find it in their heart and the size of their wallet to donate $2,500 to the wonderful cause, just raise your bidder card now, and we'll help you process that. Okay, it's not nice to laugh at me.
Can I just speak on something really quick before y'all start doing that?
If
Thank you. I'm Honesty. Most of y'all know me. So before we get our wallets or cards or whatever out, 2 seconds on what this money goes to. Myself, I'm in recovery next week, hopefully for 14 years. Thank you. But I'm going to get emotional. So the Scott Zebrowski Scholarship Fund helped save my little brother's life. And I tried for 3 years to get him to come to McShin. And then he was in the hospital with tubes and everything. And the last bit that we had left in that fund, I gave it to my little brother. And now he's been in McShin for over 8 months. And I didn't mean to come up here and cry and try to make y'all feel bad. But, you know, so that the stuff that we do at McShin on a day-to-day basis and how it is an impact on my personal family, I just wanted to, I couldn't sit here and not say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Our family's been through a lot the past couple months, and being able, my parents, to see both of us in recovery is just the most perfect gift anybody could give us. So thank you.
there's nothing I can add to that. Folks, yeah, so there's always one in the crowd. Sir, now, if you're talking, you ought to be donating. As small as I get, sir. Folks, if you have it in your heart and your wallet to donate $1,000, we'll process that kind donation. I have $1,000. Thank you very much, sir. Would you hold up your bidder number for me, please, sir? $1,000, bidder number 110. That's how easy it is, folks. That's how gratifying it is. Anyone else at $1,000, if you please. You can find $500 in your heart. Thank you so much. Bidder number 207 gives $500. You should really be applauding now. Bidder number 218, thank you so much. Bidder number 218 also gives $500. Bidder number 117, thank you so much. Number 117 also gives $500. Anyone else at $500? Thank you so much, ma'am. Number 284 gives $500. Number 284. Anyone else at $500? How about 250? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we can back up. No problem. 500, good. 500. Number 181. Thank you so much. 500. Number 181. I'm going to charge you another 100 for being a little slow. But anyone at $250, folks. Anyone at $250. $250, anyone? $250 donation. Thank you so much. Number 175. Number 175 gives $250. Anyone else? Thank you so much. Number 296. Number 296 at $250. Anyone else? How about $100, folks? If you can give $100, what's that? A half a tank of gas now? $100. Bid number 105. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. $100. Number 264. Number 264. Number 229, number 229 gives 100. Number 275, thank you. Number 275. Number 267, number 267. Anyone else? Anyone else at $100? Anyone else at 100, folks? Thank you so much. Number 155. Number 155. Anyone else? Folks, if I didn't ask a number, if you're shy, then you may tell the people at registration on your way out that you would like to contribute to this wonderful cause. I think we've left the silent auction open a little bit longer. You still have opportunities there. And we still have Bourbon and Barrel $20 raffle tickets. Rare? Apparently it's so rare. Comes from a valley somewhere in West Virginia. Folks, if you want more raffle tickets, I thank you so much. I've been Bob, Andrea, and Jansen. Y'all been fantastic. Thank you so much, folks.